Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me, for me, for me. So you think you can stop me and spit my eye? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh, baby, can't do this to me, baby. Just gotta get out, just gotta get right out of here. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. I'm just a fool boy. I need no sympathy. Because I'm easy come, easy go. Little high, little low. Anyway the wind
Please settle down. The Necrological service to honor the late Dean Perry Ong will now begin. So, good afternoon. And my name is Hill Pinuliar. I am one of the Associate Deans of Dean Perry in the College of Science. And in behalf of the College Executive Board, I would like to thank everyone for taking time to come to this afternoon's special necrological service to honor and to remember the life of Dean Perry Ong. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge, of course, the family of Dean Perry. We have Ma'am Susan, Patricia, and uh, Leandro. Leandro. Okay, Leandro. And of course, we also have special guests. We have National Scientist Ed Gomez. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of UP Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Cynthia Bautista. From UP Diliman, we have Chancellor Dr. Michael Tan. And of course, we also have deans from the different colleges in UP Diliman and officials from UP System. We also have guests from UP CIDS and of course, the colleagues and friends of Dean Perry from UP Los Baños and from his networks, including the Forest Foundation Philippines, Ozomes, and the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity. Because Dean Perry is such a visionary, his network extends beyond those who are present here. That's why the CEB and through CSRC has made sure that this necrological service will be broadcast live in the different units of the College of Science, and it's also broadcast live through DZUP and TVUP. Okay, so It will be uploaded in YouTube in the next 24 to 48 hours, so you can view it later on if you want. And you can share it also with friends who are unable to join us this afternoon. To give the opening remarks or the first tribute to Dean Perry, I would like to call on UP Diliman Chancellor, Dr. Michael Eltan.
To the family first, again, Susan, Leandro, and Patricia. To the mother of Perry, I understand the father was not able to make it. Other members of the family, and of course our UP family, our professors emeriti have been called, and the vice president, and faculty and students here. And I know there are many friends of Perry who are here today. You'll notice that there are some white banners that have been put up, and I like the choice of the color white. You'll see that also in this photograph, in part because that is the color of mourning in China. No, the original color is white. But I thought also that white is more appropriate than black. There's a certain bloom that comes with black here. For this afternoon, I mean, I use black as well for mourning. But I would like to say that for this afternoon, let us consider this a memorial and tribute, a celebration of Perry's life. Kaya parangal ang tawag dito. No? I do not like the term necrological. It emphasizes the death when in fact we are talking about the life of a very important person in our lives. No? It's hard to Perry is somehow everywhere, no, all around us. On the way here, I saw one of the College of Science shuttles, no, which is so very Perry when I said that we should have more 24/7 review centers for students. No? We started that 2 years ago during midterms and finals. We have this 24/7 place. Perry was very quick to put one up, and not only that, he put one over Diliman. He was able to get donations. I can imagine him pestering the donors to contribute. And the College of Science has the e-vehicles, and I saw one of them on the way here. No? Last week I was in Bohol for a system planning workshop, and I was in one of the towns, and they said, "Oh, Dean Perry was here not too long ago because there is a project also in Bohol, environment project." So he is known everywhere. No? Like I said earlier, he's sort of everywhere around us. No? I'm not going to talk about all his contributions. I would like to leave that to his associates here. No? And tomorrow my column, The Inquirer, will honor him as well. No? So ayokong ulitin, I do not want to take time from the others. No? But I did want to say also, because the opening remarks should set the tone, one of the things that struck me, I'm going to be very Chinese here. No? I'm Chinese Filipino. No? There was a piece of cloth that was put in front of his coffin, and it was in Chinese. No? And I actually had to translate it even for family members. No? And it was an interesting phrase, Wang Sheng Zile. It's actually a Buddhist phrase. No? It says that in moving on to another life, there is joy. And I thought it was an interesting, that was the first time I ever saw that phrase used here. No? It's usually, the Chinese always have all these banners, and they're all anguish, they're all pain and sorrow, but this one was a very positive message and also very Perry. No? So the idea here is that we do not die, we move on to another life. But as we remember that, we also remember that Perry had a very good life. He served so many people, and that is what makes his moving on so meaningful. So to finally set the tone and to allow the others to speak, I will be giving to the family a prayer bowl. I lost my parents last year, 3 months apart. It was a very difficult time, and I found that every morning it was helpful to be able to do something therapeutic, and it was to use the prayer bowl, to strike on the bowl. Bells mean so much, no, in people's cultures. I see the College of Music Dean here. Let me acknowledge incidentally all the deans here, because our loss to the executive committee is so very difficult. parang hirap na hirap kami na wala si Perry when we had our first executive committee meeting shortly after his death. I started the meeting and said, let us have a few moments of silence for Perry. And then after maybe 10 seconds, I said, naku, parang hindi bagay, to call for moments of silence for Perry. It's not, I said, I can imagine Perry laughing, na nagpatahimik itong executive committee. But it will be a more quiet executive committee meeting without Perry. We will miss him so much. But I bring the prayer bowl, which I will pass on to the family, because bells resonate. And Perry's life will resonate for us. But for the family, I wanted you to know that striking it is a way of calling out, not just to Perry, but to all our loved ones. And I hope this will help you. And I will strike it 3 times now to start our tribute for him. And with that, let us start our tribute to Perry.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Tan. So, according to Chancellor, Dean Perry was such a very positive person. Actually, the image that came to my head, my mind, while listening to Chancellor Tan was Dean Perry having a light bulb over his head. Dean Perry was full of many bright ideas on how to improve things, particularly on the situation of our DOST scholars. And Dean Perry has improved so much the delivery of services. Now, the allowance of our DOST scholars are no longer delayed, and we have Dean Perry to thank for that. Okay, so the first, there are so many people who would like to give tributes to Dean Perry, but we have organized them based on the different facets of his life as a teacher, as a researcher, and a worker of extension, so sa mga research activities ni Dean Perry. So for the Institute of Biology, I would like to call on the first person to give her tribute to Dean Perry. I would like to call on Dr. Sonia Jacinto.
Nakikita pa ba ako dyan? Magandang hapon sa lahat. Firstly kay Susan, kay Leandro, kay Patricia, and kay Mami ni Perry and all his relatives, and of course to Perry, and to all my colleagues here, College of Science and UP community. Actually, I am going to be reading my eulogy, but part of this I've already delivered when I also gave the introduction for him during his installation, exactly 1 year before he died. That was March 2, 2018, and he passed on March 2, 2019. My first encounter with Perry was on my first year of teaching in UP at the Department of Zoology in UPLB, where he was among the group of students known around the department. He never became my student, but I heard his name always and saw him around in different classrooms in the hallways dahil makwento siyang klaseng tao. Thus, with constant encounters and kwento-kwento with him, I consider him as my almost former student. I encountered Perry again as among the junior colleagues here in UP Institute of Biology. Then he went to Monash University in Australia and came back with a PhD a few years later. I encountered him again as Dr. Perry Ong, a colleague, and then our director at the UP Institute of Biology, and then 1 year ago was installed as our CSD. For us at the IB, Perry is a fiery, feisty, outspoken, and very witty co-faculty who always enjoyed having the last say. He was the resident weatherman, sending regular weather updates, especially during typhoon season, for us to keep safe, warm, and dry. As our director, he was a visionary leader, coming up with ideas which usual logic questions as undoable or way, kaya ba? But he puts them into practice nevertheless, and the results are often good, if not simply outstanding. He brought IB to a new direction, keeping its faculty and staff following the beat of one drummer to achieve new and higher heights. He is fond of catchy phrases that stick to the mind, like his Pagkukusa and Malasakit, that people in IB always associate with him. At this point, please allow me to share 3 precious incidents which for me describe some glimpses of the Perry that I knew. This first incident describes his strength of character and word of honor. For those of us who were around when Leonard Ko and Dan Lagunsad passed away in November 15 and 16, 2010, you may remember how it was revealed to us in the middle of our faculty meeting that Leonard was shot in Leyte during a field trip. You may also remember how Perry, who was presiding our meeting at that time, kept on answering his phone, and we were really already starting to wonder why. But he never told us the real state of affair as far as Leonard is concerned until it was 6 p.m. when Leonard's family was already fully informed that he revealed the true state of Leonard. So still staggered with Leonard's demise, the next day we were devastated anew with the news that Dan also passed on the previous night of liver cancer. Dan told no one in IB about his condition except for Perry being director and his friend. He bore that knowledge and strain of his oath to his friend and his friend's family all by himself from the summer of that year until Dan passed on in November 16, 2010. The second incident describes the practical side of Perry. March 19, 5 years ago, I had a 7 a.m. lecture, and when it was over, I saw on my phone the notification from my son of his wife's cesarean section to my second grandson. Apparently, he has been frantically trying to call me while I had a class. I went to my office and burst into tears for fear and anxiety. My daughter-in-law was actually still into the 29th year of her pregnancy, malayo pa sa normal 36 weeks, 29th month, something like that. So I went to Perry, who was in the room right across mine. I let him into my overwrought state. He only had very practical advice and insights na ang Sonia, ang premature babies ngayon, now have very good chance of surviving, etc., etc. And his very calm and calm demeanor and genuine concern, parang nahimasmasan ako bigla. Tapos, nasabi ko sa sarili ko, hoy, ano ka ba? Developmental biologist ka, dapat alam mo na ang mga premature babies ngayon have very high chance of surviving. So, nang nahimasmasan ako, lumabas ako, tapos sabi niya, gusto mo, drive kita sa Makati Med? Sabi ko, nahimasmasan na ako, okay na ako. So, I functioned like a normal human being after that and visited my newborn grandson. The third incident describes the funny and sometimes exasperating Perry that I knew. Both Perry and I one day were in the old IB, one Saturday that is, for our respective research. And we met at the lobby accidentally by chance. Then, when at that time also, a guy came in with a plastic bag. And we were both curious because in the plastic bag, may gumagalaw. So, ibig sabihin, merong laman. Ay, siyempre, hayop yun, hindi halaman. So, curious kami, lumapit kami. Tapos, ano yan? Tapos sabi ng guy, ma'am, ahas. Tapos nung sabing ahas, sabi ko, oops. So nag-withdraw. But Perry was very excited, lumapit siya kaagad. Sabi niya, ahas, patingin. Di silang dalawa nagtingin na doon sa ahas. Tapos sabi ko, Per, kayo na, ikaw na lang dyan. Tapos sabi niya, akin tong ahas. Inigay naman ng mama yung ahas. Tapos later on that day, I went to his room. Nakalimutan ko na yung incident na yon. I went to his room wanting to borrow a book on biodiversity. Then, all of a sudden, I asked what he did with the snake. And he just kind of remember all of a sudden. So, tapos, hugot niya yung bag. Pero yung bag was already empty. And sabi niya, oops. Sabi niya, Sonia, wala na laman. Sabi niya, okay, para mas marami, makain niya yung mga daga dito. So sabi ko, or sabi niya, silipin mo nga yung may siwang bayang sa ilalim ng door ko. Baka lusot na at nasa room mo na. O talaga. Kaya, sabi ko, oops, lumabas ako, tapos sabi ko, uwi na ako, pero hindi na ako, nilak ko na lang yung room ko. So, no work for me at that time. Yeah. Okay, those are my experiences for Perry. He really also had a lot of funny and humorous side. Yes, many people come and go like shooting stars into our lives. They blaze and burn brightly as they journey with us, then are gone immediately. They do touch our lives one day and bid goodbye on the next, hardly leaving a mark. But Perry was a different shooting star. He came, touched our lives, my life especially, and left an indelible mark, different from that of doing wrong. A mark that will be there for a long time to come. And his impact into our lives, my life, has a ripple effect also in the way we, or I, now touch the lives of others. That is how Perry has impacted my life. Bye, Perry. God be with you, my friend, my former student.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Sonia. So she said that Dean Perry was very fond of catchy phrases. No, that is very true, but it's not without any purpose. Usually, nagde-develop si Dean Perry ng mga catchy phrases to inspire people. For example, when he became director of the Institute of Biology, he came up with this phrase, Bilib Philippines, which stands for Building the Leading Institute of Biology in the Philippines. And then he continued that when he became Dean of the College of Science, renaming the graduate office as OAD MAPA, which stands for Office of the Associate Dean for Mentoring, Academic Progress, and Advancement. So we have Dean Perry to thank for that. Now, in the Institute of Biology, Dean Perry maintained a lab called the Biodiversity Research Lab. And to give a tribute in behalf of the laboratory, I would like to call on his student, Mr. Mariano Roy M. Duya.
Good afternoon. Na-volunteer ako ng lab. Ako daw magsasalita. Anyway, yeah. Mas kilala siguro ako Aloy Mariano kasi tatay ko yun. Aloy na lang. But anyway, actually I've been working with Perry since 1996. I started working with him. So there are a lot of memories actually, pero siyempre 5 minutes lang daw kailangan. So I'll just siguro i-share ko lang yung mga experiences or memories na I think nagtatak. Tapos yung nakikita namin kung gaano kasaya si Sir Perry at gaano siya ka-witty. Paano siya man-torture sa amin actually. So actually it started 1996, nag-start ako sa Subic project yun. So my project, tapos may mga students siyang ina-assist. So yung sayang wala sila dito. So actually may mga pangalan kami usually sa mga pag may mga students. Si Ana Banana, si Doding Daga at saka si Pani Karen. Depende kung anong tax ang ang pinag-aaralan nila. But anyway, isang beses kasi kailangan namin mag-recon kung saan yung mga sites. So sinamahan namin yung isang estudyante, pumasok kami sa gubat ng Subic. Medyo madaya kasi ang gubat actually ng Subic. Pag tinignan mo sa taas, magubat. Pero pag nandun ka sa ilalim, puro bamboos. So pare-pareho ang itsura niyan. So eventually, nawala kami for 2 hours. Ikot kami ng ikot kasi wala talaga kayong matandaan na signs. So sabi niya, may flight ako kasi may flight pa dati, Subic to Manila. May flight ako, dapat habulin. Anong gagawin natin? Sabi ko, nga sir, sige, ikot lang tayo. Maya, alam ko na, sabi niya, magbaliktad tayo ng damit. Kasi sabi nila, nga ano daw yun, na useful daw yun. So eventually, pinauna namin yung estudyante na babae, nagbaliktad kami ng damit namin. So eventually, nahabol naman niya yung flight sa ano. So, ganun si Sir Perry sa ano. And then, so during that time din, naging consultant siya sa Conservation International, sa CI. So sabi niya, Aloy, gusto mo mag-join ka as volunteer, kung ano, kasi volunteer lang. But eventually, binigyan din ako 1.5 per month. Pero malaki na yun noon, yung panahon na yun. So one time, kasi nga yung CI ngayon, bago pa lang na NGO. So sabi niya, uso ngayon noon that time yung priority setting. So yung buzzword ng biodiversity nagsisimula pa rin. So sabi niya dun sa headquarters, kailangan namin mag-priority setting. So sabi ng headquarters, okay, sige, ito yung methodology, ganito. So sabi niya, typical Perry, niya, hindi effective yan sa Pilipinas, hindi mag-work yan. Sabi niya, kasi ganito ang methodology namin, kailangan nating sundin para consistent. Sabi niya, pero hindi nga, kasi nga puro mapping lang yan at saka data gathering lang yan. Tapos eventually discussion, tapos bigla siyang nagsabi, are we saving the Philippine biodiversity or your methodology? Kaya ko, patay na to, away na to. So eventually, ang sabi nung okay, you can go ahead with your plans on how to do it, but we can't give you funds. Sabi niya. So sabi Sir Perry, alam niyo si Sir Perry, pag na-challenge, talagang pagpupursigi. So nag-develop ng proposal, so sabi niya, Aloy, sige, punta tayo ng USAID Philippines. Kasi mag-present tayo to propose itong priority setting. So noong unang panahon, siya yung country director. Siya lang yung may laptop. Toshiba na laptop, na T-series. Na kung alam niyo yung box type na sasakyan, na Lancer, parang ganun yun. Dating kami dun sa office ni USAID, sabi niya, tapos sabi, siyempre, pakilala. And then sabi niya, pwede kami manghiram ng monitor. Kasi monitor. May laptop kayo. Sabi niya, oo, pero kailangan namin ng monitor. So alam niyo yung monitor dati, yung lalaki. So nagdala ng monitor. Pagbukas ni Sir Perry nung laptop, hindi ko rin alam, pagbukas ni Sir Perry ng laptop, tinanggal niya yung screen ng laptop. Sira pala. Pero gumagana yung gumagana yung CPU. So kinonect namin, nag-present siya. Eventually, nakuha naman namin. Pero sabi na, hindi namin alam kung naawa lang, kaya binigay yung funding or... No, but siguro, it's part of strategy. Mga creative ways to fundraise. Ganon si Sir Perry. Pero totoo talaga, isa lang laptop, sira pa. So, fast forward, nag-stay kami, umalis siya sa NGO, then nag-stay kami. Then eventually, in 2011, bumalik ulit ako with Perry, we work on So itong series of experiences ngayon is sa room 106. Ang actually hindi namin makalimutan. Matandaan niyo dati yung, alam niyo yung planchadora. Ito yung sa mga factory kasi may di ba nag-hire sila nung magpe-press ng mga gamit. Meron kaming isang RA na kasama namin, isa sa mga Paris Angels, na interview sa morning, yung mga morning news about livelihood. Tapos tinanong nila, kasi kung sakaling may kailangan ng planchadora, saan namin kayo makontak? Ang binigay na number sa room. Lang landline sa room. So since then, nung following week, wala nang tigil yung tawag, galit na galit sa akin. But eventually siguro, hindi niya dahil tawag na tawag, in-interview niya na rin yung mga tumatawag. So sinasabi niya, fortunately may na-hire na kami. But eventually, pinakat na yung phone kasi nga ayaw talaga tumigil. So, kaya sabi namin, pwedeng alternative livelihood yung planchadora, yung mga RA ngayon. So next is, siguro yung, ano man, yung paano kami tinotorture. So sabi niya, darating yan sa office niya, uy, may deadline tayo bukas. Kailangan ko ang report by the end of the day. Sige, sir. E di siyempre kami, maya-maya, Mama, magpapatugtog. Tapos full volume, tapos gaganon-ganon paminsan. Paano? So, ganun siya, I mean, he enjoys the work, pero yun nga, nagtitake time siya to relax. What else? So, alam niyo ba kung bakit pala, bakit gusto niya yung Bohemian Rhapsody? Kasi sabi niya, nandoon daw yung pangalan niya sa phrase. Alam niyo yung second paragraph, last sentence. Perry Ong. Yeah. Yun yung sinasabi niya. Kaya gusto niya yung Bohemian Rhapsody. Kaya yun ang madalas namin naririnig. Halos memorize na namin din lahat ng lyrics. So ito pa, classical. Dumating na naman siya. Typical, Sir Perry, daming gamit, bag. Pagbukas ng pito. Ay, ngayon siya palagay niyang bag. Alam niyo, sakit ng paa ko eh. Buong araw daw masakit yung paa niya. Bago naman daw sapatos niya. Eh hindi niya alam kung lumaki yung paa niya or mali yung size. Eh hindi na namin nilalisan, nila Sol. Sir, mukhang kailangan mo lagyan ng L at saka R. Baliktad. The whole day, suot niya sapatos, baliktad. So anyway, ganun yun. And then, once every year, before mag-start yung year namin, we sit down actually, and then discuss, gaano siya ka-concern actually sa mga kasamahan niya. So we sit down, we look at the projects, anong mag-i-end, sino ang RA ang mawawala ng trabaho, sino ang ganun. So we discuss all these mga projects, and then yun nga, actually narinig nyo na yung bang, siguro may nakarinig na sila, may bago siyang konsepto, Philippine Eagle Joy. Kung ang Jollibee may Chicken Joy, siya Philippine Eagle Joy. Actually may framework na kami nan, worth 70 million. And then meron din siya yung Pastillas de Tamaraw, worth 50 million naman yung ganawa namin proposal. But so, gaya na sabi ni Hill, na magaling siya ng mga ganung, to attract ng mga potential funders. At saka lagi niya sabi ko, sir, masyado naman malaki yata. Sabi niya, wala namang masama kung humingi ka. Ang makukuha mo lang naman, kung ayaw nila, di wag. Pero kung hindi ka humingi, hindi mo malalaman. Usually, yung sinasabi niya sa amin, And then yun nga, yung sinasabi niya na, the key to success is to be in the right time at the right place. Sabi niya, actually, kulang yun. Ang next dapat nun, you have to do the right thing. So, ang sabi nga, lagi niya sinasabi, pag inabutan mo nga yung train, nasa tama kang platform, inabutan mo yung train, pero kung hindi ka sumakay sa train, maiiwan ka pa rin. So, yun yung inaano niya sa amin na you have to ask the question, kasi kung hindi mo gagawin, forever ka magmuni-muni, ano ang response nila. And then, siguro, lastly, with Perry's passing, ang sabi nga nila, we have to step up. Malaki yung gap na feel. But I think, ang sa akin is that we need to step down. Kasi nga, kasi when you step down, mas malaki yung perspective na makita mo. And I think that's how Perry works. Kaya niya, lahat nung nakikita niya yung bigger view, yung wider perspective. Kaya niya na siguro yung mga tao na to work together. And I think that's all. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aloy. So that's very correct, no? Dean Perry is very creative in raising funds. And one thing I remembered dun sa tribute ni Aloy, it's hindi masamang magtanong. Yung laging sinasabi ni Dean Perry. And he also said, sabi din ni Aloy, na it's not just na you have to be at the right place at the right time, but you have to do the right thing. So I just have to share one situation na naalala ko talaga si Dean Perry. I attended this symposium, and then there was a speaker, siya yung CEO ng ESCO Philippines. At that time, wala pa kaming biosafety cabinet. And then the CEO said, you can ask me anything. So while some people are asking for discount, I asked, can you sponsor my lab with the biosafety cabinet? And then he said, yes, we will sponsor your lab. So again, I really appreciate si Dean Perry. If there's a one phrase talaga na hindi ko makakalimutan from Dean Perry is hindi masamang magtanong. You will not lose anything by asking any question. Now, to continue the tribute from the Biodiversity Research Lab, I would like to call on one of the graduate students of Dean Perry, Mr. J. Fedelino.
Good afternoon po. So as you heard earlier sa mga naunang nagsalita, Sir Perry loved his acronyms. He has said a couple of times nga na sometimes all you need is a catchy or a witty slogan to have people fund your science. And various examples through his life were testament to that. So today, I want to do Sir Perry, about Sir Perry. So we do a P-E-R-R-Y. Okay. So first, Sir Perry was P. He was a parent figure to us. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Susan, kaming mga RA and grad students niya, kami yung mga anak niya sa labas. And he knew all of us. He knew our tics, our best skill sets, our worst. He knew who eat the most, who has a crush on which other RA. And we would often get crates of fruits or several boxes of tikoy and from his office. And even as he constantly jokes about collecting fees from us for all the weight that we've gained since starting in his lab. So ako ata yung record holder nun, 2 kilos per year po ang ginain ko. And of course, yun nga, hindi mawawala yung mga dad jokes ni Sir Perry. He had several. Meron siya kung ano ibig sabihin ng, yung totoong ibig sabihin ng S sa Superman. Small daw yun, kaya masikip sa kanya. To the connection between Avengers and the Philippines, kaya raw nandito si Thanos at the end of Infinity War kasi kukunin niya yung bato ni Darna, kasama yun sa Infinity Stones. And also how drinking Coke Zero negates all the calories you eat previously kasi nga pag tinime zero mo yung anything, magiging zero siya. And ayun, as he was to us, Sir Perry was a parent to several generations of scientists, kasama nga sila Sir Aloy and yung original Perry's Angels. And for us na anak niya, meron ding mga ibang naging anak na yung mga naging anak niya before, younger scientists for future generations. Next, letter E, Sir Perry was an engaging communicator. When Sir Perry speaks, you will listen talaga. And I've seen this happen countless times around different types of people and even among his peers. Sir Perry was a dominant presence with his booming voice and a great command of both English and Filipino. Sir Perry was an effective teacher and a rallying voice for the cause of conservation in the Philippines. Letter R, Sir Perry was a respected scientist. And I think it's not a stretch to say na Sir Perry will live on and be remembered as one of the most important and greatest figures in the field of biodiversity conservation. And his involvement went beyond doing the actual science. Umabot siya sa point na his guidance was needed and crucial to several policies of the government, particularly the DNR. And next R, Sir Perry was a radiant leader. More than anything else, for me personally, Sir Perry was a leader I admire and will always look up to. His hard work and vision was inspiring, and he would always talk about his plans with our lab and all of his future projects. And he always went the extra mile. He will read through all of our papers and reports meticulously, commenting on even the smallest typos and grammar problems. And he would also go through our oral presentation slides, slide per slide as we practice them orally para ma-improve namin on ways how to talk and communicate the results of our studies. And these concrete demonstrations of his hard work and his passion for his work made me want to do my best too as a scientist. And lastly, why? Why? It's a question na parang I guess we'll never find an answer to. we still sometimes joke about receiving emails from him ng past midnight, and also him asking for progress on our many deliverables or asking for a random photo or file. And it's really hard to imagine the next years without him. Lalo ngayon wala na akong thesis advisor. So yun, I'm sure all of us here have been witness to Sir Perry's passion and work ethic and have been affected by him in the same way. For that and for all of your help, wisdom, and guidance, sir, salamat. Walang kapalitang isang Perry Ong, but we will always try to honor your legacy and make you proud. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fidelino. That is very correct. Dean Perry is such an effective speaker. I remember very well when we had the orientation for the ASD HRDP scholars. Sabi ko kay Dean Perry, opening remarks ka, 15 minutes lang po. He ended up giving a 50-minute speech. Of course, in times management, napaka-horrendous tong situation na yun, no? But I truly understand na merong gustong message na i-convey si Dean Perry on how the College of Science can contribute to the development of science and technology in the country. Now, the next part of our tribute is an AVP presentation prepared by the group of Ma'am Sonia Jacinto to show the birthday celebration of Dean Perry in 2015. I think we're having some technical difficulties with the AVP. Maybe we can proceed with the next group of tributes. As you know, Dean Perry, ito na pala yung ating AVP.
Escape from reality. Open your eyes. Look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy. I need no sympathy. Because I'm easy come, easy go. Little high, little low. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun, but now I've gone and thrown it all away. Mama, ooh, didn't mean push, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, Galileo, Galileo Figaro. Magnifico! I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from this monstrosity. Easy come, easy go, will you let me go? Bismillah, no, we will not let you go. Let him go! Bismillah, we will not let you go. Let him go! Bismillah, we will not let you go. Let me go! We'll not let you go. We'll not let you go. Let me go! Oh, mamma mia, mamma mia. Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me. For me. For me. So you think you can stop me and spit my eye? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh, baby, can't do this to me, baby. Just gotta get out, just gotta get right out of here. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me.
Okay, as Dean of the College of Science, Dean Perry instituted change to improve the delivery of service. To give the tribute in behalf of the CS admin staff, may I call on Ms. Dina Ileto.
Ganun po talaga. Magandang hapon po. 18 months. He was our dean for 18 months. But I heard Dean Perry's name early on during a chance encounter with Ate Cookie na nagtatago po sa labas in 2012 and 2013 when she said she was transferring to a new job and working for him in a project. Hush-hush daw muna, baka maudlot. I did not know then that I was also about to make a decision to return to CS. I was a student from Cal who had the opportunity to be a student assistant during Dr. Yanga's time in 1997. As an employee, CS, 2005 during Dr. Asanza, and 5 years in during the term of Dean Saloma. I transferred to HR and another 5 years, returned to CS in 2015. During the time of Dr. Balmaceda. During the selection period for the next dean, I really remember Dean Perez's presentation. He started his presentation by saying, around these words, I didn't want to run as dean, but if I am selected as the next dean, these are my plans. He was the only one who included about personal development. Coming from HR, I was quite impressed to see that he included the development of administrative personnel. Lagi po kasi kaming napag-iiwanan. Or kadalasan, hindi nasasama sa plano. Silent workers, and sometimes known sakit ng ulo ng faculty administrators. Totoo naman po. But Dean Perry saw us not just a bunch of admin personnel. He also saw us an individual. He acknowledges our individuality. Kaya nga po nung naging dean siya, we were already contemplating saan kaya uupo si Ate Cookie sa dean's office. Yes, Ate Cooks, you're a prominent picture in my memo. Kasi I placed my way of thinking like this. Kung nagtagal si Dean Perry kay Ate Cookie, mahaba pasensya ni Dean. Ikaw, Ate Cookie, ang nagpalakas ng loob ko to adjust for the new Dean. Dean Perry and I have these dynamics. He would go out of his room, barefoot, and tells me, Tina, pakihanap si Jojo, or then contract employee. Not Guban, as we first knew him by his last name, but Jojo. Or Dean would say, pakitawag si Sam, si Marlon, si Lawrence, or Carlo. Sabi ko, Sir, sino pong Carlo? Sabi niya, kasi po, 3 po Carlo namin. Manalo, Inigo, tsaka Del Mundo. He knew us by name, he knew us because he took the time to get to know us. Time it seems later, we would realize he was really short in supply. Email sa gabi, Sabado, Linggo, he was actually doing 3 things simultaneously to the point that one time, lagari ang meeting. I never, sa Dean's office conference room, I'd ride, I'd sapa. I had to man the entrance to try to direct which people to what meeting. Kasi po maghalo-halo po sila. I never seen anyone do multitasking as he did. He was very polite, even though I could see that he took a deep breath before talking to someone he disagrees with and tells that person, you're just doing some mental calisthenics. Or during that time, in other words, palusot. I saw him as a determined and strong person, strong enough to do the unsavory task of meting out what has to be done, but at the same time, giving everyone something in the meeting to come out smiling. In my humble opinion, he was fair. He was a good leader. He was for me an embodiment of this short poem, Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. I often use this poem po to give empowerment to the youth. Usually during this summer, I help organize summer leadership camps and for the parish youth, and I volunteer as program or module facilitator. The poem goes, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not deserve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give people permission to do the same. And as we liberate from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Dean was like that, a bright light, that when you're with him, his brightness gives you the opportunity to shine with him. He found out, actually, yung accomplishment ko na binibenta niya na pala ako sa ibang associate dean. That I had finished my master's in library information science. He was excited for the future of CS, for CS to have its own archives. In a sense, he was proud and happy to discover that each of us admin staff can do, and he was so eager to see how much more we could do for the college. With this brightness of leadership, he pushed us to do more, be more. Dean's room, if you will all remember, looks like an aquarium. It has a glass divider, which from start he never puts the blinds down. We share that glass divider. I would see him working inside, but usually he uses it to observe his admin staff. Whenever he was facing the glass with his laptop, I would always thought, lagot. Nag-o-observe na naman si Dean. Kapag nakatalikod na siya at busy sa desktop computer niya, yay! Kalma na ulit. Dean loves the arts. And when he started bringing in paintings, his personal collection, I told myself, ay, additional assignment, curator. Dean, during his busiest days or most difficult days, to ease of tension, he would blast out his speakers and play rock music. Fortunately, this was the time kakalabas lang ng Mamma Mia 2 and Bohemian Rhapsody sa movie, so I was very happy to sing along with him outside the glass window. Rockista yan si Dean. Tan 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 tan, di ba? But now, wala na ang paintings. Minsan, malinis na rin yung aquarium. Joke lang yung office po ni Dean. But for the love of music, this prayer is for you, sir. When the world seems far behind me, and I have no place to go, when my life seems cold and empty, and I feel I'm all alone, then a song that I remembered helps to ease my troubled mind, and I have the strength within me to reach out just one more time. For as long as I have music, as long as there's a song for me to sing, I can find my way, I can see a brighter day. The music in my life will set my spirit free. Happy journey, sir.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Dina. Now, to help manage the college, Dean Perry had the support of 4 associate deans. And to give the tribute on our behalf, I would like to call on the Associate Dean for Research, Dr. Giovanni Tapang.
Hindi rin po ako magtatago sa likod. Pareho lang kami ni Dina. Ako po yung pinagmamalakihan ni Dean na meron siyang MA in Library Information Science. Kaya magagawa na daw namin ang lahat ng mga database na pwedeng gawin. 3 bahagi ang pagkakakilala ko kay Dean Perry. Una, bilang isang academic, administrator, at isang siyentista ng bayan. Una ko siyang nakausap ng matagalan sa isang climate change discussion sa Laguna noong bandang 2007-2008. Naalala ko lang kasi siya yung isang taga-Diliman na nandoon. Kinausap ko siya, humingi ako ng slides kasi maganda yung discussion niya noon. Ngunit noong 2010 ko lang siya nakilala ng mas malalim nung nakasama namin siya sa kampanyang paghingi ng hustisya kay Leonard ko at mga kasama nito na pinaslang noon sa Cananga Leyte. Dito ko po siya mas madalas na nakausap at nabibisita sa kanyang opisina noon sa biology na takot ako dating puntahan kasi may iba't ibang klaseng hayop at halaman na nasa loob ng bote na iba ang amoy. Sorry, kaya hindi po ako nagbayo. At nasa loob ng bote at nandun sa eskaparate bago ka makarating sa opisina ni Perry. Di ba? Doon ko din nalaman na meron din pala na isang matagalang survey ng mga puno sa palanan na sinusukat at itinatala nila ang laki, ang dami at kung ano man sa isang mahaba-haba ng panahon. Binisita ko siya noong bandang 2015 at ibinida ko ang ilang mga low-cost instrumentation na maaring gamitin niya sa mga gusto niyang kahuanan o i-monitor niya ng mga hayop. Naalala ko kasi na marami siyang gustong ipagawa noon ng mga infrared triggered camera at that time umuwi kami rather than mabigay sa kanya yung mga gusto kong paggamit, umuwi kami na isang mahabang listahan ng dapat naming gawin. Taong 2016, tinawag ako, hinanap actually niya yung email ko, hinanap niya yung cellphone number ko kasi may gusto daw siyang gawing device para sa isa niyang discovery. Confidential pa daw, kaya dalawin ko na lang daw siya dun sa ayaw kong puntahan na lugar sa laboratorio kasi hindi pa siya lumilipat sa biology noon at nandun pa siya sa dating biology building. Pinuntahan ko siya, madilim na yun noon, wala na masyadong tao, at ipinakita niya yung rafflesia na na-discover nila. Punta kami sa second floor, pinakita niya maliit, etc. Ang alam ko na rafflesia mula dun sa pakikipagdaog pangpalad ko sa kanya kay Leonard ko, maliit. Gusto daw niya nagawa ng paraan para hindi na niya kailangang hatiin yung bulaklak para malaman kung lalaki o babae. At bagong discovery pa lang nila ito at gusto sana niya na destructive ang gagawin niyang pag-alam. At baka naman daw meron kaming fiber optics o kaya kung anumang salamin ang gagawin para magamit. Sabi ko sa kanya, sige, pwede tayo maghanap ng endoscope. In fact, bumili kami, kaya lang yung space na kailangan pasukan ay 2.5 millimeters, yung endoscope na nabibili sa Lazada ay 5 millimeters ang diameter. So hindi kasya. Sabi ko sa kanya, baka pwede pong maghanap ng mga mirror system. Sabi niya, ginagamit nga nila yon, yung mga dental mirrors. Sabi ko, tama po yan. Yan ang arrangement ng periscope. Tapos biglang, tatawagin natin tong periscope. So actually, meron po ako hanggang ngayon sa aking list of things that I should do ay may periscope na heading. Taong 2017, ibinukas ko sa kanyang idea na gumawa ng isang forest dynamic simulation o modeling para sa isang graduate student sa biology na si Greta. Nakausap muli namin si Dr. Perry dito para humingi ng permiso na makuha ang kopya ng mga datos para ma-analyze at ma-model. Physics po ako, nagkukunwaring bio, pero gusto ko kasing i-analyze yung mga datos na gano'n. At very rare sa Pilipinas na meron ganong proyekto na mahaba ang observation. At maganda doon i-test kung ano yung mga naiisip naming mga models doon sa physics. Ngayon ay tinatapos namin to kasama ni Dr. Lilian Rodriguez ng biology. Kaya kagaya ng alam ng marami sa inyo, si Dean Perry ay generous sa kanyang mga ideya at infectious sa kanyang mga pagkilos. Infectious din ang kanyang excellence bilang siyentista at administrator. Nung tumakbo siya at nanalo bilang dekano noong 2017, mas malalim ang naging pagkakilala ko sa kanya. Sinabi niya kasi nung pag-upo niya noong October, manatili mo na kami bilang katuwang ng mga dekano. Ako ay dating Associate Dean for Student and Public Affairs ni Dean Joey Balmaceda. Habang nilalatag pa niya ang kanyang ideya sa pagre-reorganisa ng kolehiyo. Nilinaw niya ang mga proseso at sa kanyang salita, he still has to do some housekeeping kasabay ng pagtatahak ng mga bagong direksyon para sa College of Science. Eventually, na-restructure niya ang mga opisina at ang mga associate deans. At typically, Perry, mayroon siyang mga acronyms dito. Sinabi na ni Hill kanina, pero binuo niya ang Facilities and Resources Management o FARM, ang Student, Alumni and Public Affairs o ang SAPA, ang Mentoring Academic Progress and Advancement o MAPA, at ang Research, Innovation, Development and Enterprise o RIDE, na kung saan ako ay kanyang nilagay. As Perry would say, you now have a MAPA to ride and cross the SAPA to get to the farm. Pag hindi nyo pa man makalimutan yon, di ba? At itinuro niya sa amin ang direksyon para magkakasamang maabot ang mga targets ng kolehiyo. Mahilig talaga siya sa mga mnemonic devices na ito, kagaya ng ibang mga initiatives niya during the time that he was dean and I was his associate dean. Meron siyang mga naisip kagaya ng Neo-Filipinos, National Economics Observatory for Filipinos People's Well-Being. Ngunit inayos din niya ang iba't ibang mga acronyms na hindi naman siya ang gumawa, kagaya ng ASTHRDP. Hinanapan niya ng paraan itong Advanced Accelerated Scholarship, Science and Technology Human Resources Development Program. Hinanapan niya ito ng paraan para mapabilis ang pagbibigay ng stipends na dating nade-delay ng 3 buwan, hindi po kumakain ng mga estudyante, at mas makakatulong sa pagpaparami ng PhDs and graduate students sa kolehiyo. Ito ay isang programa ng DOST na pwedeng gamitin talaga ng kolehiyo. Nakasama namin siya sa isang meeting sa ASTHRDP sa Baguio. Balikan lang po kami. At makikita dito ang klarong pagtingin ni Dean Perry nang magbigay ng serbisyo para sa mga estudyante. Pinanindigan niya kung ano ang dapat at sinabi niya na hindi lang to simpleng pera ng gobyerno na ayaw nating mawala, wag nating tingnan ang mga graduate students na itatakas yung pera, tingnan natin kung paano sila tulungan para matapos na mabilis ang kanilang pagiging graduate students at maging MS at PhD. Pinakita rin niya itong malasakit na ito sa mga estudyante sa 24/7 study nook sa CS Library na kanyang binibisita bago siya umuwi. Tinitingnan lang po niya dun sa taas kung maayos ang mga estudyante at ini-interview niya kung bakit sila pumupunta doon. Doon niya na-discover na mas maraming College of Engineering ang gumagamit, pero hindi naman problema yon sa amin at hindi yun problema kay Dean Perry kasi yun naman ang gusto niyang gawin, makatulong sa mga estudyante nag-aaral at gustong mag-aral. Maraming mga inisyatibo si Dean Perry, kagaya ng pagsasaayos ng Computational Science Research Center, CSRC, na maging sentro at imbaka ng iba't ibang datos sa buong bansa, National Archive, ng archives. Kasabay ng pagsasaayos nito bilang isa sa mga kolehiyo na mag-o-offer ng PhD in Data Science and Analytics program ng universidad. Katulong si Vice Chancellor Fidel Nemenzo at si Vice President Cynthia Bautista. Hands-on tinutukan ni Dean Perry na magkaroon ang hugis itong program na ito. Ganoon din ang kanyang hands-on influence sa binubuong PhD STS program na binigyan direksyon niya at sinulatan kaming lahat na nag-o-offer ng STS ng isang direktiba ilang linggo lang bago siya nawala. So susundin po namin. Kasama sa mga iba pang mga inisyatiba niya, ang mga pagtulong sa guro, sa tawi-tawi, kung saan ay dinala niya ang mga faculty at ibang researchers ng buong kolehiyo mula sa mathematics, chemistry, biology at sa physics. Nakalimutan ba? Para tulungan sila para may pumasa daw sa UPCAT sa mga estudyante nila. Hindi po yung estudyante ang tinuruan niya kasi mas long-lasting naman daw kapag ang tinuruan mo ay ang mga teachers. Tinuro niya din kung paano mag-engage sa iba't ibang kumpanya. Sa amin, tinuruan niya kami. Paano magsulat at humingi ng isang electric vehicle. Naalala ko yun. Sabi niya, this is how you write these kinds of letters. And surprisingly enough, meron kaming dalawa. Gusto nga niya kumuha pa ng 8 pa. Para daw wala ng mga problema, hindi lang sa mga estudyante, lalo-lalo na paggabi, kasi mga late night naman magtrabaho ang maraming mga researchers dito sa ating kolehiyo. Mahilig siya sa mga numero. Kaya ako, lagi niya kinukulit na maging handa sa iba't ibang statistics ng kolehiyo mula sa publications, research load credit, funding, at iba pa. Dahil ginagamit niya ito sa kanyang mga pakikipag-usap sa universidad at iba't ibang mga departamento ng gobyerno. He asked numbers to be translated to a very simple elevator pitch so that he would be effective in his dealings with others. Naaalala ko nung una niyang college assembly, may isa siyang slide na maliwanag niyang sinabi, serve the people, paglingkuran ang sambayanan, at malasakit at pagkukusa. Kinuhanan ko pa po yun ng picture. His rallying call being in his plans for being CS Dean is building the leading institution in science and service of the Philippines. Hulaan niyo po kung ano yun. Bliss Philippines. Typically, Perry O. Hindi ito kagulat-gulat kung kilala natin si Dean Perry. Siya na rin ang nagkwento na isa siyang kabahagi ng cultural group sa UPLB. Naging full-time organizer ng kabataang estudyante noong 1979 and 1980 sa Southern Tagalog. faculty ng UPLB, faculty ng UP Diliman, convener ng local scientists noong 1980s, kaisa ng migranteng Filipino sa Australia at sa iba't ibang larangan na nakilala natin siya. Pinapayagan niya ang pagkakaisa ng mga akademiko sa mga komunidad at ibang mga issue at tumulong din sa mga researchers under threat. At kahit na kay John Bonifacio na ating estudyante na hinuli habang nagko-cover bilang siyensya photographer. Si Dean Perry ay marami pang pwedeng itawag sa kanya. Ito po ay galing sa mga estudyante. Perry the Platypus kasi may mahaba siyang tail sa likod. Perry Bear sa mga mukha naman talagang huggable bear si Dean Perry. Doc Perry, Dean Perry at iba pa. Mentor, environmentalist, conservationist, biodiversity advocate, professor, dean, kasama, tatay, guro, kaibigan, siyentista ng bayan. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Gani. Definitely, Dean Perry was a great administrator who never forgot to prioritize research and development. Now, to give the tribute in behalf of the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research and Development, I would like to call on Vice Chancellor Limensa.
What I like and remember most about Perry was his craziness. I say this in the most positive sense of the word, and I wish we had more characters like him on campus. He was unhampered by social conventions. He was not the typical scientist, certainly not with his trademark ponytail. Perry was, for me, wonderfully brash, with a bold, crazy sense of adventure, always bristling with ideas and plans, always thinking outside the box, always seeking solutions, connections, and possibilities. His was a boldness that wasn't afraid of making mistakes. But Perry was not a reckless adventurer. He was, after all, a scientist who based his judgment on prudence, observation, and evidence. One may or may not agree with him. In fact, I disagree with some of his views on climate change. But you can be sure that Perry always sided with what he believed was right. He had a strong sense of right and wrong, a strong sense of fairness and justice. He was bold in ideas and action. He had the courage of conviction, the courage to speak his mind and test his ideas. He was always a step or two ahead. I mentioned, for example, as Gani has mentioned, his vision of putting up a tri-college PhD program in data science and a PhD in science, society, and policy. But Perry had the openness of mind to listen to others and the humility to step back if evidence and counter-arguments convinced him to do so. Whenever I talk with Perry, we talk not only about science and the university, but also about our past. Both of us were student activists during martial law, and Perry himself devoted 2 years of his young life to being a full-time activist and community organizer in the southern Tagalog region before eventually returning to his studies and embarking on a career as a biologist. I first met him in the mid-1980s at a meeting on nuclear power and the environment. At that time, there were very few science advocates within the progressive movement, and Perry was one of them. As a scientist, activist, as an activist scientist, Perry did not confine himself to the classroom, the laboratory, and producing journal publications. He believed in the social responsibility of scientists, especially scientists in public institutions like UP, to address problems of our country. Like the late Leonard Coe, he spoke up and stuck his neck out for his advocacies, such as biodiversity conservation and the protection of our environment. In STS, or Science, Society, and Science, Technology, and Society, Perry gave talks on Jose Rizal as scientist. And like Rizal, Perry was a natural scientist and humanist who continued to be sensitive to social injustice all his life. Perry, Perry was, in his own words, a field biologist with a serve the people mindset. With Perry's passing, I've lost not only a trusted colleague in UP, one who was an excellent scientist, I've also lost a comrade, as well as a dear friend whom I've had the privilege of knowing for over 3 decades. I hope that more scientists in UP in the country emulate the example of Perry, who lived the principles of honor, excellence, and service. Mabuhay ka, Perry, at maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Now, to honor and remember Dean Perry, the College of Science has invited a faculty of the College of Music to perform one of Dean Perry's favorite song. Please help me welcome Mr. Jordan Petalver. Thank you very much, Mr. Petalver. Now, as Ma'am Sonia mentioned earlier, Dean Perry was originally a faculty of UP Los Baños, and he was recruited to UP Diliman by then Dean Dr. Rodora Asanza. Now, to give the tribute in behalf of his former colleagues and friends from UP Los Baños, I would like to call on Dr. Ireneo June Lit, Professor at the Institute of Biological Sciences, UP Los Baños.
Maraming salamat po. I consider myself dual citizen po ng UPLB at UP Diliman. At mamaya malaman niyo kung bakit. So, Chancellor Tan, mga pinuno ng UP, mga kapwa ko guro, mananaliksik, at mga kawani, mga mag-aaral, mga kasama sa gawaing pag-agham, pang-akademiko, pangkalikasan, pangkapaligiran, mga makabayan, mga kaibigan, mga minamahal, magandang hapon po. Marami akong gustong sabihin at ang iba ay nasabi na rin ng mga nangaunang nagsalita. Marami akong gustong iparating at palagay ko yung mababanggit din ng ilang mga susunod pa. Yung 5 minuto pong ipinangako ko kay Ma'am Aisa, nasaan siya, ay mukhang hindi ko po matutupad. Anyway, indurasan ko po si Aloy 10 minutes. So, excuse na po ako. Dahilan po ay bihira naman po ang pagkakataon at palagay ko, although marami pa akong gagawing tribute sa ating kaibigan, bihira po yung live. So kami po ni Perry ay sabay pumasok 1977 bilang freshman sa UPLB. Ako as a BS Bio student, siya dating BS Zoo. Panahon ng martial law. So mula sa aming mga limitadong nalalaman at pangunawa, lalo na ako, noong high school, nabuksan ng aming puso at mga isip tungkol sa mga katotohanan sa ating bayan. At nabuksan din ang aming mapanuring pagtanaw sa kasaysayan na noong kabataan ay natali lamang sa pagsasaulo ng mga pangalan at mga petsa. Natuto kaming makisalamuha sa iba-ibang sektor, manggagawa, magsasaka, at iba pang mag-aaral. Actually, it was isa sa mga unang first-hand experience namin ay ang masaksihan kung paano pinaulanan ng bala ng Armalite ang mga tahimik na nasa picket line ng manggagawang bukid sa Hacienda Fernandez Caico sa Victoria, Laguna. So kumbaga, alam na po natin kung ano ibig sabihin the years of living dangerously. Sa halip na matakot, nag-iwan yon ng maraming katanungan, kabilang na ang para kanino ba dapat ang ating pamahalaan? Para kanino ba ang ating buhay? Mga katanungang sa aming kabataan ay kusang umusbong ang paghanap ng kasagutan. Ng mga panahong ding yon, matagal na ipinagbawal ang student council at student organizations at ng mga ngunit naglakas loob ang mga mag-aaral doon sa Los Baños, nabuuin muli ang mga orgs, student orgs, hanggang sa maitayo ang kauna-unahang University Student Council sa buong UP noong 1979 matapos ang deklarasyon ng Batas Militar noong 1972. Sa mga pagkilos ng mga mag-aaral, nakikita kami ni Perry. Tama na lang ngiti, tango, ganun lang. Pero una ko siyang napansin sa isang pagtitipon kung saan napanood ko siyang bumibigkas ng tula ni Ka Amado V. Hernandez. Lumuha ka, aking bayan. So hangang-hanga po ako kasi ako sumusulat ng tula pero hindi po ako pang performance. Hindi ako pang stage. Kahit walang stage, may stage fright pa rin. So, madamdamin, malakas ang boses kahit hindi gumamit ng megaphone. Alam ho siguro nyo yan. Praktisado ngunit natural ang mga hakbang at galaw. Isang tunay na kapasapi ng teatro o malokokan. Yung isa, katulong ho actually siyang bumuo noon. Hindi siguro niya alam pero ako yung naging instant fan, ika nga, sa pananaw, sa lingwahe natin ngayon.
Yun nga, sabi ko sa inyo, wala akong lakas ng loob mag-perform sa stage, nagsusulat lamang ako. So, in other words, Perry was in the front lines. I was just behind the scene. Pagkatapos ng ilang taon, nabanggit na rin na nag-full-time work si Perry. Pero kahit na gano'n, nauna pa rin ho siya nakagraduate. Hindi ko dinajustify na quality education takes time. Pero inabot ho ako ng 6.5 taon. Pero nung nag-compare notes na kami, tapos ng ilang taon, sabi ko, Perry, dahil sa ako'y talagang pag sinabing boycott, ako'y nagkaroon ng 2.5. Dahil sa maximum absences naman ho yun. Kasi ayaw ko pero hanga ako, wala siyang bagsak. Sabi ko, grabe ka naman, parang hindi pa, abnormal ka. And then, pagkatapos actually, nag-shift ho ako from BS Bio to BSA Entom. So we were also seeing each other kasi isang wing lang ho yung zoology at saka yung entomology. Sa panahong yon, mapanganib nga ang pamumuhay, sapat nang malaman namin ng isa't batian lang, tango, ganon. Basta alam namin kung anong kulay namin. Sapat nang malaman na kapanalig at kasama ang isang kapwa. Parehong naglilingkod sa bayan, umaasam sa pambansang kalayaan at tunay na demokrasya, nagmamahal sa masa at sa mamamayang Pilipino. So, fast forward. Pareho kami nagtrabaho sa UP, nabigyan din at parehong nabigyan ng pagkakataong makapag-aral sa Australia. Bagaman ang akin pong PhD ay sa UPLB ko na rin nakuha. Pero hanga ako kasi Monash University. Doon din po yung aking Australian advisor. Kaya impressed ako, bigatin ang mga graduate ng Monash. Sabi ko, hindi pala basta-basta itong aking kasamang ito. So pareho kaming umuwi. Kahit ako po ay inuudyokan ng mga kapwa Pinoy natin doon na huwag nang bumalik. Tatago na lang daw ako. Anyway, madali daw makakuha ng trabaho. Pero pareho po kaming umuwi. May utang na loob sa bayan. Kaya kung minsan matatanong mo, ito ba yung ating pinaghirapan ngayon pagkatapos ng maraming taon? Pero bagaman naghihimutok ako pag nagkita kami, doon ako hanga kay Perry, hindi siya nawalan ng tiwala sa mamamayang Pilipino. Matapos ang ilang pang taong uli na di nagkikita pero nagkita, parehong busy, sabay kaming nagawaran ng NAST Outstanding Young Scientist Award noong year 2000 sa parehong division, Biological Sciences. During the awarding, doon namin nalaman na saktong-sakto parehong-pareho ang aming mga birthday. Sabi ko, teka, ito kaya maniniwala na ba tayo sa horoscope? Parehong Libran, balansyado ang pagtingin, parehong rat, Libran rats, and then nung binaybay pa namin, teka, meron pa tayong mga kasama sa conservation movement. Si Kaenteng Inhente, kung kilala po niyo yon sa Pulilio, October 2 rin. Si Rafe Brown, October 2 rin. At yung isang bata, October 2 ba? Parang may mahiwaga ba dyan sa October 2? Pero anyway po, doon nagsimula na ligawan niya ako na magturo sa Institute of Biology. Noong panahon ho kasi yun ako ay reps. At alam niyo po naman, hindi ba itatatwa na ang reps kahit hanggang ngayon ay second-class citizen ang trato ng ibang faculty. Okay po. So, sige na, magturo ka na. Kasi tingnan mo, ano ba yung ranggo mo? Sa publications po, ako, Professor 11 na. Sabi niya sa akin. So, may kantsaw. But anyway, after how many years na kakukulit niya, napao-on rin po niya ako noong 2015. Kaya sabi ko nga po, dual citizen na po ako, Diliman, Los Baños. So, anyway, sige, kaibigan, additional assignment without additional compensation. Pero higit pa doon, I will be teaching what I love to teach, entomology, the science of insects, at the Diliman campus. At syempre, honored. Kasi especially that the trend was more of Diliman faculty being imported to teach in LB rather than the other way around. At yun na nga, nagsimula din lalo ang aming, alam namin kasing pareho kaming scientist din sa conservation, nagsimula ang collaboration sa maraming bagay. Actually, marami pang istorya at dapat sana mag-uusap pa kami bago matapos itong semestre dahil masyadong nga siyang busy. Maraming dapat pag-usapan. Unang-una, at yung pag-uusapan sana namin ay yung mga may karapat, may kay na siyang iparating sa mas mataas kasi dekano na nga siya. Una, dapat nang malathala ang aming mga kolaborasyon tulad ng pollinators ng yung kanyang na-discover kasama si Dr. Fernando na Rafflesia Consuelo A. Kasama na yung thesis ng aming mga advices kung saan siya ay advisor at ako ay co-advisor. Sabi niya tutulungan niya ako sa mobility allowance kasi medyo dahil sa train lang mabigat-bigat na rin magbiyahe from LB to Los Baños. Pagtuturo ng biogeography, tulungan at pantay na ugnayan ng biologists sa Diliman at Los Baños, at museum funding kasi ang tagal nang humihingi ng funding ng UPLB Museum, 1976 pa pero hanggang ngayon wala pa. Mauna pa yata ang Diliman magkaroon ng museum. At bukod pa rin siyempre ang aming pagtutulungan, natulungan ang DENR tulad ng aming pagtulong sa National Wildlife Management Committee. Isinama niya ako sa Philippine Red List Committee sa pagbubuo ng updated list of endangered fauna, ng mga invasive species list, at higit sa lahat ang pagtutulungan para sa masagot ang pangangailangang maging aware ang maraming sektor sa kahalagahan ng siyensya at kaugnayan nito sa pambansang likaskayang pag-unlad. So, marami pa dapat diskusyon, marami pang kwentuhan, marami pa akong gustong sabihin, sabi ko nga sa inyo. Pero ako at si Perry ay larawan ng isang pagkakaibigan na hindi kailangan laging mag-agree. Pwede kami mag-disagree, pwede kami magtalo. Hindi rin kailangan laging nagkikita. Pero oras na nagkita, special treatment. Naalala ko nung pumunta ako dito at bago ang Institute of Biology building, pinagmamalaki niya sa akin. Talagang pinaliwanag niya kung bakit walang elevator. Pinaliwanag niya kung pinasyal niya ako doon sa memorial ni Leonard Cohen. At kumbaga, yung special treatment na hindi kailangan may merienda. Special treatment to kasi pagpunta din naman niya ng LB, kahit na ako may ginagawa, ay tuwang-tuwa siyang ipinakita sa akin, uy, tingnan mo to, may video ako nung kinuha namin, Rafflesia Consuelo A. At actually, marami pa siyang ipapakita sa aking video. Kaya lang, ito na nga ho, kung bakit kasi ang bilis-bilis. Yeah. So, sa makabuluhang pagkakaibigan at sa pangkabuuan, si Pera ay larawan ng isang scholar na buong-buo ang pagkahulma ng at sa UP. Only UP can give us that holistic education that results in heroes like Perry. Mga aktivista kami noon at hanggang ngayon. Maaring noon mas malamang sa paglaban para sa kalayaan at demokrasya, ditong bandang huli para sa ating kalikasan at kapaligiran. So, sa mga galit sa aktivista na wala na daw ginawa kundi mag-rally, ito po ang bunga. Isang dedicated na public servant, isang leader na may puso para sa lahat ng kanyang nasasakupan. So, kitang-kita ko po nung nagsasalita yung kanyang mga staff. Nakuha po namin yan sa pakikipagsalamuha, kasama na po si Susan. Humahanap ng mga solusyon at hindi dumadagdag sa problema. Kung may kakulangan, gagawa ng paraan. Kitang-kita nyo yan. Kung hindi organisado, mag-oorganisa. Kung walang kumikilos, kikilos at magpapakilos pa ng iba. May tinatanaw na mas malawak at mas malayo. It is just sad that our country, our people still need hundreds, thousands of the likes of Perry, who value truth, science, honesty, dedication to public service, loyalty to the people, love for family, nature, and our environment. We can only hope that the seeds that Perry has sown will bear their own fruits because our nation, our people urgently need them. May usapan kami ni Perry na may joint celebration sana kami sa aming 60th birthday. Pero ayoko po mag-join sa kanya. Pero pwede siya. Perry, pwede kang bumisita sa akin. At least magkakaroon ako ng proof na merong life after death. Sa pangwakas, hayaan po ninyong basahin. Nabasa na po ninyo yung mga 10 ang tula ni Perry sa, ay hindi pa pala lahat, pero nakapost po sa FB at ni-repost ni Susan. Pero ito po yung aking tula para sa kanya. Hinahanap kita, kapatid. Hinahanap kita, kaibigan. Tinatawagan kita, kapatid. Sabay tayong nanghiram ng aklat sa aklatan ng pag-asa. Kaya't sakdal pait ng nabalitaan ko, ang talaan ng buhay mo'y binawi na. Pilit pinapawi ng paroot paritong mga alon at ihip ng hangin ang mga impit naming pahatid na iniukit na mga palihim na hikbi. Sa tila natutulog na buhanginan at sa dalampasigan ng iyong puso, namamahinga ka na ba aming kasama? Hindi mawawala ang iyong pangalan sa harap ng pinid na pintuan na kani-kanina lang ay dambana ng iyong hindi nangangalay na panulat at tabernakulo ng namimitig na mga binti ng nagtalumpating tinig. Namamahinga ka na, kapatid. Ngunit hindi mapipipi ang batingaw na kahapon, ngayon at bukas ay magtatawag ng mga kapanalig. Pagmamahal sa kapwa, bayan, kalikasan at daigdig. Sumisilip na ang araw. Mamamaalam na ang mga tala. Patuloy na magliliwanag ang bituing, ikaw, oo, ikaw, maningning. Hihimlay kang tahimik sa puntod at pantayog ng mga hindi namin malilimutang paninindigan, pahayag, panawagan, paalaala. Dahil sa puso at isip namin, isang bayani ka. Maraming salamat na ikaw ay nakilala at aming nakasama. Magandang hapon.
Thank you very much, Professor Lit. Now, in UPLB, there's an organization called OZOMS, which was coined by Dean Perry. OZOMS stands for Organization of Zoology Majors. Now, to give the tribute in behalf of OZOMS, I would like to call on one of its alumni, Dr. D. Maligalig.
Isang mapagpalang hapon po sa ating lahat. Ako po ay si D. Maligalig, taga UPLB, kasamahan ni Dr. Perry Ong sa UPLB Zoological Society. Bilang isang presidente ng isa sa dalawang freshman block assembly noong 1978, sila at ang iba pang mga BS Zoology students ay nagtatag ng aming organisasyon o samahan. Gaya nga ng sinabi ng ating dekano, Associate Dean, si Perry ang nag-coin ng OZOMS at sa tingin ko, mas kilala kami bilang OZOMS kesa sa UPLB Zoological Society. So ito ay suhestyon na pangalan ni Perry na Organization of Zoology Majors. Ang kaso mo, nanalo yung isang pangalan, pero minintain pa rin yung OZOMS para maging isang tawag sa amin. So, siya ay, sabi ng nauna sa akin, si Professor Lit, 6.5 years, technically 6 years din si Perry kasi may 4 na semestre siyang nag-aral sa labas. Pero yung tagal niyang, nung nagsimula siya ng 1977 hanggang sa siya'y umalis at nag-aral sa ibang bansa, tapos bumalik uli sa UP Los Baños, mas naging matatag yung serbisyo niya sa Student Council at sa tingin ko mas naging matatag ang samahan namin ng organisasyon. Ako ay 1978 pumasok at nakilala ko siya bilang kapwa estudyante. Pagkatapos kong mag-aral, nagturo din agad at nakasama ko din siya sa pagtuturo. So sabihin natin yung samahan namin ay mas malimit sa loob ng akademya, hindi sa pagkikibaka ng mga estudyante sa student union. Simula noon hanggang ngayon ay ramdam namin sa OZUMS ang kanyang pagpapahalaga sa bawat pangangailangan ng alumni, pati ng mga residente, ay lagi siyang handang tumulong kahit napakadami niyang ginagawa. Nabanggit na nag-i-email siya sa alanganing oras. So, sa condition ko kasi medyo early to bed, early to rise, so maagang gumigising, nakakapag-usap kami ng mga ganong mga alanganing oras para sa aming mga plano, sa mga dapat gawin sa aming pinakamamahal na organisasyon. Last year, sinelebrate namin ang 40th anniversary at napakasipag niyang hinanap yung mga dating kasamahan. Yung mga 1981-82 pa nagtapos na nasa ibang bansa, pero talaga namang masugid niyang kinamusta, inalam at para makonekta, para maisama namin sa aming pagtitipon. Lagi din niyang sinasama ang OZUMS sa mga okasyon o mga selebrasyon na napaka-special sa kanya. Lagi niyang tinatawag, mag-i-email siya sa amin, sasabihin merong ganitong award, nung award niya sa IB, tapos nitong huli, nung siya ay tinalaga bilang dekano ng inyong kolehiyo. Hindi lang siya magandang ehemplo ng pagiging gabay, sabihin na nating ama ng OZUMS. Ipinakita rin niya sa amin ang kahalagahan ng paglilingkod. Lagi niyang sinasabi na kailangan niyang umuwi, okay, hindi siya pwede sa araw na yon, gawa ng mag-aalaga siya ng magulang. Sabi nga niya sa email sa amin, it is a privilege to be able to take care of our parents. Sa 40 taon na pagkakakilala, 37 taon bilang kasanib sa isang samahan, at 35 taon na pagkakaugnayan bilang kapwa guro sa zoology. Ang taon ay 6 kulang pa para sa mga dapat naming gawin, sa mga plano namin para sa aming OZUMS. Hindi pa nga niya tapos yung kwento ng Infinity Wars in Darna. Nung Loyalty Day po, isa siya sa nakatanggap ng UPLB Alumni Association Outstanding Award. At sa kauna-unahang panahon, sa tinagal-tagal ko sa UP Los Baños, nun lang siya umattend ng Loyalty Day. At kung kayo po ay naka-attend ng Loyalty Day, alam niyo po yung matagal yung paghihintay. Hindi po nainip ang mga residente namin kasi po talaga yung paghihibla niya ng kwento para po talagang tunay na istorya na konektado ang bato ni Ding sa bato ng Infinity Wars. Pati po yung probinsyano ay sinama niya. So yung mga estudyante po, mga residente po namin, walang ginawa po kundi tawa ng tawa. Sabi nga namin ng mga bata, paano na ngayon ma'am? Paano na natin malalaman yung katapusan ng kwento? Ngunit sa loob ng 58 pagtigil niya dito, pag natanto natin ang kalooban ng Panginoon, masasabi nating hanggang doon lang ang para sa atin. Sapagkat may kasabihan na ang tao, pag nandyan, ibig sabihin ay meron siyang pakay pa. Kung siya ay umuwi na, Ibig sabihin, tayong mga naiwan, kaya na daw nating gawin, ipagpatuloy ang kanyang mga nasimulan. Mahal na mahal namin ng OZUM si Perry. Mula sa founders namin, si Ma'am Arlene Lanu, si Ma'am Ophel Umatigon, mga kapwa charter members niya, mga alumni hanggang sa residente. Kaso nadagdagan ang aming mga anghel sa langit. Ang mga alaala natin, ang mga aral na ibinahagi mo, ang pagkukuhanan ng lakas at tapang para ang legasiya ay mapangalagaan at mapagyaman. Bilang pagtatapos, gusto ko lang ibahagi ang sagot niya sa akin nang nalaman kong hindi siya makakarating sa December 1, November 30 and December 1 activities para sa aming anibersaryo. Sabi lang niya, huwag mong hanapin ang wala. Bigyan mo ng halaga ang kung sino ang andyan. Hindi pa alam, kundi sa muling pagkikita. Perry Simong OZUMS. Salamat.
Thank you very much, Professor D. To continue its tribute to Dean Perry Ong, the College of Science, through the Office of Associate Dean ISAU, has prepared another AVP presentation.
Things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. Hey, always look on the bright side of life. Come on. Always look on the bright side of life. For life is quite absurd, and death's the final word. You must always face the curtain with a bow. Forget about your scene, give the audience a grin. Enjoy it, it's your last chance anyhow. So always look on the bright side of death. Just before you draw your terminal breath. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. Life's a laugh and death's a joke, it's true. You'll see it's all a show, keep 'em laughing as you go. Just remember that the last laugh is on you. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the right side of life. Come on, Brian, cheer up. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. Worst things happen at sea, you know. Always look on the bright side. What you got to lose? You know, you come from nothing, you're going back to nothing. What you lost? Nothing. Look on the right side of life. Nothing will come from nothing, you know what I say? Cheer up, you old bugger. Come on, give us a quiz. There you are. See? It's the end of the film. Incidentally, this record's available in the foyer. Some of us got to live as well, you know. All right, it's a lot. Let's get this place up there.
birding on ship, they'll never make that money back.
Thank you very much to the Office of Associate Dean Isadora Yu for the AVP. Now, as mentioned previously and as seen through the pictures, Dean Perry has such passion for the environment and conservation. Now, to give the tribute in behalf of his conservation partners, I would like to call on the Executive Director of Forest Foundation Philippines, Attorney Jose Andres Canivel.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank the family and the organizers of this tribute for allowing us, his family outside of UP, to be part of this tribute and to honor Doc Perry's life's work. We're also honored to be part of this so that we can share our experiences, how much Doc Perry was important to us, and for the foundation as we try to continue his life's work, to understand what he stood for and what he wants to do further. Outside of his work here in UP and outside of his work in the college, Doc Perry had many important contributions for the biodiversity conservation sector and for the environment in general. Before I continue, I hope you don't mind that I keep referring to your beloved Dean as Doc Perry. For us in the environment and conservation field, it was always Doc Perry. And It was one of his fervent wishes, I suppose, for me to continue to call him Doc Perry Ong. We had this long conversation right after he became dean, and I started calling him dean. And he said, "No, Onggi, please don't call me Dean Perry, because because you're not my student. Call me Doc Perry pa rin." Sabi niya, ikaw nga ayaw mong tawagin kang Attorney Onggi kasi sabi mo sa akin hindi mo ako kliyente. So he was like that to us in the environment field. He was always Doc Perry. So I hope you don't mind us continuing to call him Doc Perry Ong. Doc Perry had many contributions for the environment and conservation of forests in the Philippines. And he did this before he joined IB. And even while he was with IB, during semestral breaks, over weekends, and over Christmas holidays, we'd meet, we'd do things, we'd continue research, and we'd plan to change things in the Philippines. In the interest of time, however, I was told that I needed to focus on just a few things, a few of our experiences. So I said to the organizers, okay, I'll focus on 3 words. Hindi 3 words of tribute kay Doc Perry Ong, but 3 words from Doc Perry Ong. So linking it to what Doc Perry meant to us. First, Doc Perry helped develop and sustain a lot of the conservation plans of the Philippines. As mentioned earlier, while he was with Conservation International, he led the identification, assessment, and conservation of biodiversity corridors, then an emerging and a new field of conservation. He was instrumental in the crafting of the Philippine Biodiversity Strategic Action Plan, PBSAP, which is our Bible for conserving our natural resources, both PBSAP 1 and the current PBSAP. He was also a major advocate on the use of native plants in the country's reforestation efforts. And as a founding trustee of the Forest Foundation, then known as the Philippine Tropical Forest Conservation Foundation, he led our program committee and shaped our program priorities, developed our grant guidelines, and started our shift towards more meaningful conservation work. And he started that with 3 words. As a new ED, I met individually with all of the members of the board. When I met with Doc Perry, I don't know if we met in his office or outside, but we met one afternoon. It was the end of the day. So I introduced myself. I'm Onggi Canivel. I'm the new executive director of the Philippine Tropical Forest Conservation Foundation. You're one of our trustees, and I'd like to talk to you about our work. And he said 3 things, just out of the bat. He said, "Tuta ka ba?" So I started thinking, perhaps he was referring to National University. I come from the other university here in Katipunan. And I wanted to tell him, no, Agila po ako. But he said, "Tuta ka ba ng mga kano at sunod-sunuran ka ba ng DNR?" And that's how and then I understand this context. One of the things that the foundation then was being challenged was the way our programs are developed, was the way our projects were being run, and the way we were helping conservation. And with him at the helm, so madaling salita, hindi ako naging tuta. I took up the challenge, and together with Doc Perry Ong, we shaped the conservation priorities, the conservation programs of the foundation. We started working more with people's organizations. We shifted towards supporting research and publications. He advocated for the application of science in our grant making. But he always balanced it with community participation and community benefits. He always wanted conservation with the heart. In addition to shaping conservation programs, for us in the conservation sector, he was also an active contributor to science and to research. He led formal research projects in partnership with the foundation, the academe, and the private sector. As many have shared, he was particularly adept at bringing together various stakeholders and steering a course towards developing science, understanding nature and forests better, and delivering results. This led to discoveries of new species. Magkakuntsaba sila ni Doc Edwino nandun sa likod. This led to discoveries of new species and new records. And he was fond of participating in a lot of our field expeditions. We often did this with the foundation, and we visited Dinagat, we visited Palawan, many parts of Palawan. And it was always in an effort to understand forests, biodiversity, the issues of forest-dependent communities, and society as a whole. He was always curious for learning, and for knowledge generation. But his curiosity was outmatched by his passion and commitment to share his learnings, to share his observations, to share his experience. With Doc Perry, as a lot of us in the environment field know, almost anything is a teaching moment. Whether it was a defeat, whether it's a victory, it was always a teaching opportunity, an opportunity for us to learn, an opportunity for us to gather ourselves and move forward. To a non-scientist like me, he was also very patient and considerate in helping me understand the work that we did. Our conversations started at the UP lab, IB lab, and our last one was on top of on top of the administration building. Our conversations always started with 3 words: ganito yan eh. That's Doc Perry. It has also been said that Doc Perry is a problem solver, and that's for us one of the main things in the environment field. We have very temporary gains, we have temporary victories, but he was always an advocate, for better, more efficient conservation strategies. If there was a problem, he'd be one of the first to start putting his mind to it. But he wasn't just a thinker, he was also a doer. He was also an aggregator, an instigator. And while I was thinking about what he was, I think he was a co-conspirator for us in the environment field. He led a conspiracy. He led a conspiracy to conserve forest biodiversity better. He led for us a conspiracy to increase the number of field biologists and field researchers. He led a conspiracy, I don't know how many of you know this, to convert the UP Diliman Science Complex to a laboratory of Philippine native plants. We were co-conspirators to overthrow governing mindsets that put little or no value on Philippine biodiversity. Many of us were co-conspirators to end government programs that waste resources and undermine biodiversity and communities. This afternoon, I've learned that he's part of even larger conspiracies to improve the facilities of the college, conspiracies to uplift the welfare of students, conspiracies to feed students when they needed food the most. Sorry. Many of us are part of his conspiracies. Many of us will miss him.
because of these conspiracies. May I ask those who are part of his many conspiracies to stand up? Please, stand up. If you're part of his conspiracy to protect the environment, if you're part of his conspiracy to improve student welfare, if you're part of this conspiracy to improve the nation, please stand up. And let's say to ourselves the last 3 words that he said to me. And I think he always says this to you as well. When we think our problems are difficult, and as we end our meetings, and as I end this short, very short honoring of Doc Perry, he would always say to me, kaya natin yan. Kaya natin yan. Salamat po.
Thank you very much, Attorney Candevel. Now, as Dean of the College of Science, of course, Dean Perry had to make representations to different branches or offices of the government to present and to lobby the interest of the college. Now, to give the tribute in behalf of the OST, I would like to call on Undersecretary Dr. Rowena Guevara.
Chancellor, members of the grieving community of the science, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I didn't know Dean Perry very well, but I met him in 2017 because he had a proposal at DOST. When I read his proposal, it says something like this: highlighted a method in gathering pollen, fecal, and DNA samples of more than 1,000 individual species of fruit bats. Sabi ko, bakit man natin popondohan yan? Fruit bats lang yan. Daming ibang mas mahihirap na problema. But you know, Dean Perry was an excellent communicator. He went to the OST and he presented their program. And you know, we had to stop him because we were already convinced. And he kept talking. And I said, Dean Perry, okay na. Approved na. But he kept talking because he wanted to make sure we understood the importance of the program that he was presenting to us. And we were floored. And bottom line, within 5 minutes of his talking, we were already ready to approve the proposal. That's how good a communicator Dean Perry was. And then, when he became the dean, he sent me a text message. He said, pwede ba akong mag-courtesy call sa'yo? Which is very strange because normally, yung bago ang position, dun ka magka-courtesy call. But he wanted to do a courtesy call to the OST. Sabi ko, alam mo, malayo ang bikutan. Araw-araw kong ginagawa yung biyahe na yan. Ako na lang ang pupunta dyan. Sabi niya, hindi pa ready yung office ko, dito ka pumunta sa biology. So punta ako sa bio. Pagpasok ko pa lang, nandun na siya sa gate, sa entrance. Sabi ko ba, nakaka-impress tong mamang to ah. Pero pagdating namin sa opisina niya, ang gulo. sabi talaga nila, no? Genius talaga, magulo talaga ang gamit. So, okay lang naman. But to me, he laid down his plans for the college and he clearly enunciated, ito yung kailangan ko from DOST. Sabi ko, okay, itong mama na to, ngayon lang kami nagkita, ang daming demands. And he was also very frank. He sent me text messages whenever the scholarship money was delayed. And I kept telling him, you know, I am no longer in charge of scholarships. It's you, Sec Carol. But then he would still send me text messages whenever the scholarship money was delayed. That's how frank he was and how much he cared about the future scientists of the country. He was also a very good listener. The times when I visit Dean Perry was either very early in the morning or very late when I get home from Bikutan. So one time, humaba usapan namin, nabot yata kami 9:00 na ng gabi because we were trading stories about being an administrator in UP. And of course, we talked about procurement. Talagang pain point talaga yung procurement na yan for everyone. And he listened and he did something about the things that we discussed. So, hindi lang siya one-way communicator, nakikinig din talaga siya. And he would tell me, he would send me text message, "Uy, nagawa ko na yung sinabi kong ganitong gagawin ko." And to me, I was really very impressed na this was a person na magulo ang kwarto, na magaling na scientist, pero mukhang magaling din na administrator. And so, his last email to me was this. Sabi niya, "Dear Yusek Geb, still working on it. Pasensya na po at maraming nakapatong sa work to do. Will let you know when I have finished the report and let the committee know." I was a chair of the search committee for Marine Science Institute. And I was really impressed with how Dean Perry was taking charge. Sabi niya, "Mag-i-email ako sa iyo mamaya." Pag-email niya sa akin, it was the announcement for the MSI director. Sabi ko, okay, itong Dean na to, worker talaga. So we posted it. And then sabi niya, "Uy, madedelay tayo, kailangan sumulat kay President." Sabi ko, okay. After about 2 hours, may email na naman siya. Pinag-draft na niya ako ng letter, pipirma na lang ako. Sabi ko, ano bang klaseng din ito na who would do all these menial tasks just so that the committee would be able to finish its work? Ibig sabihin, talagang tong si Dean Perry ay napaka-humble. No work is too small for him to make sure it gets done. So, yung mga taga-College of Science, kayo mga nakakakilala sa kanya, sabi niya mahilig siya sa rock. Mahilig din ako sa rock. So when I think of Dean Perry, I have 2 songs in mind. These are both from Queen. Hindi ko kakantahin, hindi ko rin tutugtugin. 2 songs. One is, "We Will Rock You." Alam niyo yan, ano? We will rock you. Okay. Thank you. And the second song is "We Are the Champions." The reason is this. Dean Perry is a rock scientist. Rockstar scientist, as in, pag sinabi mo yung pangalan niya, everybody knows what he is doing. Kami sa DOST, ang pangarap namin, sana lahat ng scientist consider na rockstar ng mga kabataan. Kasi gusto namin dumami ang mga scientists. So whenever you hear the song, "We Will Rock You," think of the rockstar scientist, Dr. Perry Ong. And second, yung "We Are the Champions." Madami sa mga kasamahan ni Dean Perry, after he passed away, nagkita kami na mga a few days after, lahat sila sabi sa akin, "Alam mo, may bilin sa akin si Dean Perry." Ang dami po nila. So, College of Science, para matuloy yung inyong "We Are the Champions," kailangan gawin ninyo lahat ng bilin ni Dean Perry. Magandang hapon po.
Thank you very much, Yusek Guevara. Similarly, as Dean of the College, Dean Perry also had to make representations to the UP system. Now, to give the tribute in behalf of the UP system and to read the message of President Danny Concepcion, I'd like to call on Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Maria Cynthia Rose Bautista.
Susan, Leandro, Patricia,
the mother of Perry who has gone, Chancellor Mike, colleagues and friends in the university. I have known Perry for a quarter of a century now. It came upon my awareness in the early 1990s when the National Academy of Science and Technology requested me as the executive director of CIDS at the time to set up, among other programs, the Academy's Biodiversity Conservation Program with the late Pri Zamora and national scientist Ed Gomez, who had just left, as the co-conveners assigned by NAST. When Ed Gomez asked to be relieved of the co-convenership due to pressing international commitments, the full responsibility for the program fell on the late Pri Zamora's shoulders. The secret to his having been able to successfully breathe life into the program was the full engagement of Hilda Rivero and the young faculty member Perry Ong, whom I surmised then was Pri and Hilda's protege. Perry was in his mid-30s when I met him with Pri and Hilda. He immediately struck me as a young academic maverick, that is, an unorthodox and independent thinker. From day one, I observed that he freely spoke his mind and did not feel squeamish about providing counter-arguments in front of his elders, albeit more courteously and in a much less irreverent tone than I have been accustomed to among friends in Diliman. I traced this at the time to his being more rooted in Los Baños than Diliman. I mean the courteous, being very brash but being very courteous. Since he was the lowest ranking academic in the Biodiversity Conservation Program's totem pole in the mid-1990s, he was naturally the workhorse. This turned out to be a blessing in disguise by 1998 when CIDS transferred all its programs to one space because we benefited immensely from his regular presence in the SEEDS office and his interactions with the research associates and conveners of other SEEDS programs. He was intensely engaged in discussions with another academic maverick, the late Malu Duranila, who, after having won a publication award from UNESCO Paris for our education research program, was intent on moving beyond research and policy making at the macro level to experimenting on comprehensive education and community development planning and implementation in the municipality of Valencia, and turned the municipality from a fourth-class municipality beyond, I think it became a second-class municipality. Perry's engagement with Malu Duranila and the Education Research Program led to his advocacy for SEEDS to do a similar experiment in Lopez Haina, Misamis Oriental, this time with biodiversity conservation as starting point, since the mayor of that municipality was an environmentalist. It was in Lopez Haina that I encountered Perry's heart, which genuinely beats Malasakit for the fisher folk and poor communities. This Malasakit was manifested in a way he talked to them, patiently listened to them, is thinking of out-of-the-box solutions to their technical problems that I no longer recall but wish now that I had documented then so that I can give you examples of his technical and common sense solutions. I think this is just a repetition of his being a problem solver. It is important to note that Perry, the scientist, also appreciated learning from the fisher folk. I didn't know then that he had his long activist experience, calling the science behind their traditional way of handling the seaweeds they harvested. All I can remember now is that Perry was a solutions guy, whether as a biologist in Lopez Haina or as a person, and it was always good to have him around. I recall trying to resolve a lot of bickering between the education team and the biodiversity group, which I initially thought was due to the difference in the approach of the natural scientists and the social scientists, only to realize that the educationists led by Malu Duranila, that their bickering sprang from the misperception that Perry, as a natural scientist, was just there for advancing his science, without the patience to listen to and walk with the people on the ground. Of course, she never knew that Perry had the same background that she did. The bickering stopped and the collaboration became more fruitful when Malu realized that Perry in particular had a heart that beats for the people. At one point, she commented that Perry is like a bull in a china shop Maybe because Perry was outspoken and would always argue with her. But she noted that this particular bull has his heart in the right place. Ironically, it was also in Lopez Haina that I learned a lot from Perry. As we trekked the hills, Perry would identify the plants along the way and collect those that seemed different. This affirmed the penchant of the Biodiversity Conservation Program for making it focus on academic studies, particularly the inventory of flora and fauna, because of the absence of such listing. Although its mandate was to develop policy alternatives for conserving the country's genetic pool in light of the country's intellectual property rights. I recall a lot of discussions with Perry because he was really bent on the academic. This is very ironic because he's really an activist but bent on focusing on the academic part of it. I also recall a lot of discussions about the future of biology, with molecular biology being the field at the forefront and being separated from it. Beyond Lopez Haina, Perry remained true to being a maverick academic. Like the tree huggers in India, he and I suppose Susan was with him, because Perry would talk about her then and about her commitment. They waged a battle, I think in their younger days, against the administration's decision to fell an old tree in UP Los Baños. When we were talking about our respective centennial lectures in 2008, Perry said that he was going to shock me because he was preparing a paper that was counterintuitive to the scientist's position on climate change. I did not remember to ask him what happened between then and now, but what the heck, he is now in a different dimension beyond the debate of the consequences of climate change. I just asked Fidel if his position on climate change in 2008 has remained. Among many other roles, Perry played a critical role of connector. We talk about him as a communicator. He was essentially an excellent connector. He linked the Biodiversity Conservation Program then with Conservation International, with NGOs, with the DNR, and visiting scientists like Lawrence Heaney. I stopped being privy to his networks and connector role, but witnessed it again 2 days before he passed away, when he linked us to the National Institute of Ecology of Korea, which offered a platform to link ecology and ecology conservation-based related databases in Asia. I was also privy to his recent initiative to bring together colleagues. This was just from a discussion about data science and how the National University must also be at the forefront of data science. And then he was bringing together colleagues within the College of Science and between CS and the College of Engineering and the School of Statistics to develop the PhD program in data science and heroically give life to it in the first semester, hopefully, of 2019-2020. Was also very keen in bringing together all of the different data science people working on data science in the CU, in different CUs, and there are many of them, and it is surprising that there are many of them, to come up with a strategic plan for UP for data science. After more than a decade of not working with Perry, his appointment as dean brought us within each other's radar. I deeply appreciated his dropping by the office or calling from out of the blues or writing those emails to share new ideas for all sorts of things. I particularly treasure his ideas for student welfare, which I thought remained in the realm of ideas until Susan told me during the wake that what he and she would have want to preserve is the care for the students who study outside the library. This was the Perry of my relative youth, the Perry who was not only an outstanding scientist, researcher, and teacher, but most of all, a most beautiful human being, with a heart that beats for the most vulnerable in the college, and it turns out also in the College of Engineering, as well as a mind that envisions seemingly impossible institutional futures that are realizable if we had more Perrys who believe they are possible and who will also invest and do menial tasks to make them real. I guess it is this heart and this mind that explains why those who worked with him closely are fiercely loyal to him, showed as much hope as he does, and bestow on him so much affection. And I guess we also show him affection. So Susan and Leandro and Patricia, your husband and father and your son, to the mother of Perry, will be sorely missed. All we could do is to wish him a safe flight to wherever an outstanding scientist, visionary leader, excellent connector, and most of all, beautiful human being will go, and wish that his initiatives will see fruit. We will miss him, and we will miss him with you. Thank you. President Concepcion was called to an urgent meeting this afternoon, so he's not able to deliver his message and asked me to deliver. So I'm sorry, you'll still have me for less than 5 minutes. On November 19, 2010, Dr. Perry S. Ong, who was then the director of the UP Institute of Biology, spoke during a press conference following the death of UP botanist Dr. Leonard Ko. Dr. Perry's opening statement was, and I will rephrase here, what the country had lost was not simply one human life. What many people did not realize was that we had lost a national treasure whose knowledge, experience, and contributions cannot be replaced. It is poignant and sobering thing to realize that almost a decade later, Dr. Perry's words about Dr. Leonard would very well describe Dr. Perry himself. A national treasure gone too soon, whose knowledge and contributions are irreplaceable, and whose impact upon the university and the country he served immeasurable. However, we in UP understand all too well what had been lost with Dean Perry's passing. He was a beloved son, husband, father, colleague, mentor, administrator, and friend. He was also a UP scientist and wildlife biology professor who dedicated his work to a higher purpose. When he received the Concepcion Gladofalsa Award back in 2016, he described himself as, and he quotes, a field biologist with a serve the people mindset, close quote. He devoted 4 decades of his life to his research on conservation and protection of Philippine biodiversity. He worked tirelessly to bring together scientists and researchers, government, environmental advocates, and the international community in order to further one aim, to conserve and protect Philippine diversity. He was always at the forefront of efforts to protect endangered species in the Philippines, such as tarsier, the fruit bat, and the Philippine eagle. Over the years, his work brought him the national and international recognition he deserves. Dr. Perry was a living embodiment of the best that UP can offer the world, knowledge and expertise combined with passion and heart, honor and excellence in the service of the people and the planet. And now he is reunited with his fellow UP biologists and conservationists, Dr. Leonard Ko and Dr. Daniela Gunsad. I imagine that the 3 of them have been catching up with each other and trading stories of their treks into the country's deepest, most remote forests to study the plants and wildlife there. And to Dr. Perry Ong, just a few words on behalf of the UP community. We were not ready to lose you, but we are ready and willing to continue your work. In a country where scientists with passion and heart are an endangered species themselves, UP is ready to devote the resources needed to continue nurturing the scientists who will follow in your footsteps, and to continue actively supporting and cooperating with our scientist advocates and environmentalists to conserve the country's environment and natural resources, including our rich forests and marine biodiversity. We are ready and willing to take on the work of protecting the wildlife that you cared for, and we will nurture your legacy and make it grow. You have laid the foundations, and now it is up to us to build upon it and create the world you dreamed of. Maraming salamat, Dr. Perry. Hanggang sa muli.
Thank you very much, VP Bautista, and to everyone who gave their tribute to Dean Perry. Each of your tribute gave a different facet of Dean Perry that I personally did not know, and which made his untimely passing more heartfelt for me, and his losing him more immeasurable for the college and for the country. I would like to call on stage the family of Dean Perry, Ma'am Susan, Patricia, Leandro, to give their response, and to Aloy to read also the letter made by the oldest brother of Dean Perry.
Magandang hapon po, maraming po salamat. Si Aloy po muna ang sa-substitute kay Aya Peter para basahin yung tula niya.
Ito yung sinulat ni Kuya Peter lang sa and asked me to read. Basically, it's magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat sa pagdalo nyo sa pagbibigay ng parangal sa kapatid kong si Perry. Napakalaking karangalan sa aming pamilya ang araw na ito. Bilang isang anak, kapatid, ama at asawa, wala kaming masabi sa mga kabutihang nagawa niya. Sayang, yan ang bukang bibig ng mga taong nakilala ko noon panahon ng pagdadalamhati at salitang bakit, kung bakit maaga siya nagpaalam sa atin. Nakakalungkot isipin na wala na siya, lalo na sa mga taga-UP, nakakilala sa kanya. Maraming alaala siyang maiwan sa atin at marami pa siya sanang magagawa sa ating lipunan, lalo na sa kalikasan. Umaasa na may isang tao dyan na pwedeng magpatuloy sa kanyang mga gawain para hindi masayang ang sinimulan niya. Paalam kapatid kong Perry, alam kong nasa mabuting kalagayan ka at umaasa na walang problema sa kalikasan ang pinuntahan mo. Maraming salamat po.
Mahaba ho yung seremonya, kaya iiklian ko lang yung salita ko. Pero ang una kong sasabihin ay maraming salamat sa inyong mga sinabi na magaganda tungkol sa aking asawa. Tao lang siya, no? Hindi naman siya perfecto katulad nating lahat. Meron din siyang mga pagkakamali o pagkukulang. Kaya sa ngayon, ako ay humihingi, bigyan niyo ng paumanhin kung sino man ang maaaring hindi niya nagawa ng mabuti o nasaktan niya along the way. Ako po I humbly express my asking for forgiveness for that. At kung meron mang kailangan pagpapatawad, no, sa ganon. Yun ang unang dasal namin kasi sa bahay eh. Una, hingi ka ng patawad, tapos saka ka magpapasalamat sa lahat ng mga biyaya na meron kang natatanggap. So, thank you. At sinasabi rin namin sa isa't isa, pag nagka-thank you, meron ding I love you. So, salamat po sa pagmamahal, sa pagmamalasakit, sa aking asawa at sa kanilang ama. Sabi ko, hindi ko pa kakahabain. Ang paraan lang namin ng papasalamat ay dalawang bagay kasi yung persona ni Perry. Meron siyang persona sa arts at meron din siya sa siyensa. So, dalawa rin yung anak namin. Marami kaming anak sa labas. So, hindi lang si Perry yung tatay niyo sa labas, meron pa rin kayong nanay na sa labas na natira. Don't forget that. Kahit kalahati lang ako, I will extend my love for all of you. So, with that, I pass on. Katulad ng sinabi ni Perry, as a mentor, we should be better than him. Yun ang bilin niya. Ito ngayon, yung anak namin, isi-share na niya sa inyo kung ano yung mga huling bilin ng tatay niya at natutunan niya sa tatay niya. At ikalawa naman, siya kasi yung nasa siyensya. Yung ikalawa namang pagpapasalamat namin sa inyong lahat, sa UP family namin, ay si Leandro, bibigyan niya kayo ng kanyang tugtog through the music.
So marami pong salamat. Ako po yung bunsong anak ni Perry. At after hearing po all of these stories po na na-share ngayong hapon, actually nakwento na po yun ni Papa sa amin sa bahay. But hearing it again from other people makes it all more believable. Sasabihin niya sa amin, wala ka talagang bilib sa tatay mo. Pero, ayun, pero talagang bilib naman talaga kami kay Papa din. At itong image na to, galing po yan sa PowerPoint niya from his presentation even before he was dean, noong nomination. So, ang nakalagay po is, remember, whatever happens, the 5 pillars will still be around in 2083, making Bliss Philippines happen. So ano po ba itong 5 pillars na ito? Mula po sa, in his own words, ito yung, para po talaga ito sa College of Science, yung the greatest human resource po ng College of Science, which are the faculty, the administrative staff, the reps, the alumni, and the students. So, yun po, part of his vision po as dean, and even before he was dean nga po, is yung ma-make po yung Bliss, which is, again, yung building the leading institutes in science in service of the Philippines po. So, sana po mapagpatuloy po natin yun lahat para, hindi lang naman po ito para sa kanya, pero para rin po sa bansa natin. Yun na. Salamat po.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Susan, Patricia, Leandro. To give the closing remark, I would like to call one of the associate deans of Dean Perry, who is now the acting dean of the College of Science, Professor Laura David.
Kapos man po ang panahon na nakasama natin si Dean Perry, hindi naman po nagkulang ang atensyon na nabigay niya sa bawat isa sa atin. Napatunayan to ng mga kwento ngayong hapon na nagpataba naman po sa puso ng mga kapamilya niya dito sa koleyo at ang sarili niyang pamilya. Kaya taos-puso po kami nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng dumalo. Isa na lang po sana ang hihingin ko para kay Dean Perry na alam kong matutuwa siya na sa pagsulong natin sa pagsulong po natin habang nakikisalimuha tayo sa iba't ibang tao na sana gawin din natin yung ginawa niya. Na sa lahat ng taong nakausap niya, bukas ang kanyang utak, taos puso siya nakikipag-usap at lahat para sa inang bayan. So nakikiusap po ako, tumayo tayong lahat. Isipin po natin lahat ng pinagbili ni Dean Perry at sabay-sabay nating awitin ng UP naming mahal. Isa at dalawa.
Please take your seat. So thank you very much, Dr. David. Although the necrological service is entitled Malasakit at Pagkukusa, after we heard all of the tributes, we can add a few more words to that. Mapagkumbaba, problem solver, doer, thinker. We might have lost Dean Perry, but his legacy will live on through us, through the people he has touched, as we work hard to make the College of Science the great institution that he envisioned to be. So with that, the necrological service has officially ended. Thank you very much for coming. The Office of Associate Dean Isa has prepared simple merienda. Please proceed to the CS building lobby. Thank you very much and safe travels.